So I will be discussing Sharon and Edward. To answer question C, um, I would say that I definitely notice both socioeconomic status as well as gender playing a large role in her struggles with her husband, as well as in her husband's relationship with her children, specifically in his relationship with Sharon's son, Adrian. So I find that Sharon has adopted a gender normative role in being subordinate to Edward, both in her involvement at the bank as well as in her familial dynamic. As a female, Sharon is talked about by her coworkers, assuming that she has slept her way to the top, and her romantic relationship with Edward has allowed her to get her high status at her job. This definitely bothers her, as she is proud of her hard work and schooling that she mastered in order to attain a respected and high profile position at the bank. Oftentimes, women's achievements, specifically in employment, are undermined and deemed calculated and manipulated through sexual standpoints, seeming that there's no way she could be as smart as a man or smarter and more capable in a high position. Edward enforces his position of power as the regional manager through his planning of Sharon's personal schedule and his expectations for her to become involved in tennis as well as the country club. He also is tough on Adrian in a gendered way, where he believes downtime is wasteful and Adrian will need golf in his future as a businessman. He believes Adrian is soft when he shows his emotions and is hardening him in a way that his father did for him. He believes boys should be boys in a sense and enforces masculine ideals on Adrian, even going as far to toughen him up through physical force. He assumes his power from work into power at home and seems to be unable to take off his professional business cap and to take on a more emotional fathering role. Socioeconomic status plays a key role in Sharon and Edward's relationship as well. He is competitive at heart and seems to treat the children as well as Sharon as his employees. This makes for an interesting dynamic, as Sharon is technically his employee at work. He is unable to see themselves as equals in their relationship, and Sharon is seemingly unwilling to disagree with him or express her concerns, as he has done so much for their family. Sharon appears to be internalizing this turmoil and pressure by restricting her eating, and oftentimes women will become restrictive with their eating habits to gain some sort of control in their life. While she doesn't see her disordered eating as a problem, she is able to pick up on the fact that her daughter is mimicking her behaviors. Sharon is a caring mother and wishes for more time with her children, but she is overbooked with her busy schedule at work, as well as the schedule that Edward has imposed on her children with golf and tennis lessons and involvement at the country club. Sharon seems to want to let her kids be kids, and Edward has more of a planned trajectory to turn them into businessmen. Edward has allowed his high-profile status both at work and at the country club to bleed into his romantic relationship, as well as his relationship with Sharon. As well as his relationship with Sharon. If I could imagine Edward as the owner of a landscaping company as opposed to a bank manager, I imagine that he would have less of an intense standpoint and high-class attitude, although I do wonder if his identity and his attitude is more so a product of his upbringing in a wealthy family as opposed to solely his position as a bank manager. I do think it does make for a really difficult dynamic, however, that Edward is Sharon's boss at work, and he sees her as a subordinate in their family life as well. For question D, it has been made clear that Sharon is hesitant to disagree and challenge Edward concerning the issues that are arising in her personal life. As a mother, Sharon needs to put her children first, especially if they're being overscheduled and forced to participate in activities that they have no interest in. Sharon loves Edward, and I'm afraid her children will grow to resent him due to the way that he has drastically shifted their family dynamic that once allowed their mother to have a more hands-on and loving approach to their life. While he has given them clothes, gifts, and a luxurious lifestyle, he's also been forceful with them through physical punishment and his cruel words, as Sharon mentioned, his strongest weapon being his tongue. Sharon seems to be losing her own identity as a proud bank manager and mother, and she is now seen as Edward's wife both at work and at the country club. She has no control over her activities outside of work, and it can be assumed that she answers to Edward at her job as well. If after a few weeks Sharon tells me that she wishes for Edward to still hold control over her life and her children's life, I will have to counsel her and guide her on how to approach these conversations with her children. While I may disagree with this decision, I would like to guide Sharon in remaining close with her children, encouraging her to be an open line of communication with them. While she may feel the need to express to them that they must continue private school, must continue golf and tennis lessons, and need to show Edward respect and gratitude, I would encourage her to allow her children to communicate their unhappiness and any concerns that they may have about feeling overwhelmed. She needs to remind her children that this is a new adjustment period for all of them and that Edward loves them so much and only wants them to be successful in their future. She could tell them how much he enjoyed tennis and golf as a child and empower them to have a positive mindset regarding their own future and the numerous opportunities that Edward has been able to provide them with. I also think she can take back some of her own identity and power in the family dynamic through a private conversation with Edward where she may not have to disagree with him or drop his scheduled activities for her and the kids, but she could set some days of the week where both her and Edward watch the children's tennis matches and golf tournaments or ballet lessons to show that they're a parental unit and they support their children. For question E, I noticed my own gender role assumptions through reading the exercise with Sharon in that I've become more aware of the way that gender incorporates itself into the workplace as well as in a heterosexual marriage dynamic. Edward is competitive, masculine, and tough, and he frowns upon emotion, which I feel like is a typical gender assumption that I would have for a toxic male figure. He is on a pedestal at work, and Sharon, as well as her mother, have allowed this pedestal to remain by showing their immense gratitude and, in a sense, worshiping him for all he has done for them. Sharon can gain a sense of empowerment through counseling, where she can realize just how far she has gotten with her children by herself. While Edward has gifted them with plenty of opportunities, she raised healthy and driven children on her own. She has given Edward a family and love and support and needs to recognize what she brings to their relationship as well. Through reading this exercise, I find myself saddened by Sharon's submission to Edward and also angered, I would say, by her lack of control as a parent. If Edward is using physical punishment on her children, she needs to stand her ground and relay that this is simply not something she agrees with and is frightening for both her and her children. Sharon can gain empowerment through counseling, especially with a feministic approach. Sharon can learn to recognize dynamics of class and gender that impact society, but also directly are impacting her life at work and at home. To develop a positive working relationship with Sharon, I need to relay facts regarding her current situation with Edward, but also allow her to explore her own feelings in a way where she doesn't feel that I'm unhappy or judgmental of her relationship and her ability to parent. I want her to explore the way that Edward treats her and allow reflection of her own emotions in a safe space, encouraging her to gain a sense of her own identity outside of their relationship. My counseling could be somewhat inhibited by her inability to confront Edward. However, through empowerment and exploring her feelings, I believe that Sharon will want to do what's best for her children. She is a good mother, and I think Edward, Sharon, Adrian, and Susie will all benefit in a healthy way from boundaries and a loving family dynamic as opposed to what they have now, where it seems to be really scheduled and feel like a 24/7 routine and employment.